All right, I'm going to talk about the back drum to disc brake conversion kit that I bought, and some of the shortcuts you guys might be interested in. So first of all, the kit tells you to unbolt the axle and pull the axle out. Rather than, I think what would have been better is to unbolt this first. There's an axle right in front, okay, but if you could remove all of these components and somehow get an angle grinder between here and there, you might be able to save yourself a lot of work. I didn't actually do it because, you know, I'm retired. I have enough time to do all the extra work, but to me, even if you had like a smaller blade, like a very small blade, and you could just fit it down in there somehow, either from behind or from the front, and get this off without removing the axle, you could save yourself a lot of work. I'm thinking that this is cutting this off is a better, if you could just find the right spacing of the tool, would be easier than what I went through. So now I'm going to talk about what I went through, because I didn't like it, but it had to be done. So we go down here to the differential, and you have to remove the differential, which I put a new one on. I didn't really mind that, you know, spending a little money, but these somehow support the bearings, and you get a drain plug and a fill plug easily accessible, rather than the fill plug on the side of the pumpkin. But this is a $200 item, so but anyway, you have to remove this cover and disassemble some parts in the differential, where you're going to have all your oil come out the bottom. It's like, oh man, something like 5-6 quarts had to put back in there. But the problem really came in when there's a differential pinion bolt pin. It basically holds it all together, but then I couldn't find the torque specification for it, because I knew when I pulled it off it had a lot of torque for a small bolt, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm gonna have to torque this back together. And then I had to go online, and there's no books or anything online about the torque specification. I didn't see, if it's too loose it'll fall out, if it's too tight you can break it, and then you need a whole extractor kit to get it back out and all of this. So it's a very essential, complicated part of the differential that it would just be so much nicer if you didn't have to deal with it at all and just left it all together. I think you would be so much better off. So finally I got a 1/4 inch. It has a very small head on it, but it supposedly has 25 pounds torque. So I got a 1/4 inch extension from Harbor Freight, brand new, and when I got probably somewhere around 20, it broke the extension. So then I just stopped, because I almost felt like I was over torquing it with my torque wrench anyway. I always scared to strip a bolt off. I'd rather under torque it than over torque it. But anyway, I can't even say that it's actually torqued perfectly, because of the 1/4 inch extension that broke. So I just stopped there. So I would avoid that whole situation, okay, if you could have cut unbolt that thing and somehow cut out from here the drum brick, then you don't have to take any of this apart. Now when dealing with these lines, just give you some heads up. Okay, you know, they give you the right parts except for like this car had a rubber line. I don't like these rubber lines, they grow old, but I got a new one. And then I got a new line here. But see, sometimes you have to cut the line to get, when things strip, and then you can get these little brass compression fittings, and you clean the end off real good with a file so the little ball fits on there. And those compression fittings take the place of there's another compression fitting down here. It take the place of because you need the end, so you need the end to have the right nipple on it. So once you broke it or cut it or stripped it, then you can use the you can buy the ends at the auto parts store, cut them, and again clean up the ends real good with a file, clean out the inside with something, because it's, I use the angle grinder to cut it. So you can clean the inside out, clean the outside out, file it real good, then put your compression fitting on there, and that saves you a lot of trouble of just replacing the whole line. So again, another shot of the other side. Okay. That duct tape is just because the muffler was rattling one day. It's not really holding anything together, but so anyway, that I would avoid the next time I did a conversion. I would avoid taking apart the differential if I could, which I think I could. I think I could do it after enough thought and the right tools. Even if you had to use a really small, like cutting tool, I think that would be better than taking apart the differential. Okay, now let's move on to the master cylinder and the power booster. What you also want to buy, I bought as a kit. They supply the I haven't finished hooking all this up yet, but bench bleeding it and all of that. But you want to get the other new okay, during the intermission I actually thought of something that would work. This is a welding rod, but they actually make cutting welding rods that just cut. And if you had a welder or borrowed a welder, you could just stick this behind there once it's unbolted and just cut. And then if you need two cuts to get it around the axle hole or the axle pipe right there, then you would just make two cuts. I mean, you could use a cutting torch, but I think this would actually work better. And bam, you don't have to take apart the differential. I think it should have been in the instruction as an alternative, but you know, these companies, it's like, you know, it's like working with retarded people. But I can't help it. I'm not a CEO, so I'm just telling you. Anyway, I went ahead and bought, you know, same company, but the I think it's called the Right Stuff company. It's a good company. It just left some stuff out, that's all. But anyway, so I bought this whole unit. You know, you got a hot rod that goes fast, you want good strong brakes. You also need to get the proportioning valve that came with the whole unit, because you're now splitting it differently between, it used to be split between drums and disc, and now you got 4 discs, so it's more of an equal. That's why this is more equal than the other one. So to have it distributed properly, you need to just, I mean, you could just buy the proportioning valve, but then these are going to be wrong too, so then you want to buy this, but then this is already bolted to this, so just buy the whole kit once you get started. Okay, so I'll show you the old one, which isn't really the stock one. So you see the front is bigger than the back, so it's not proportioned. So this is a different proportioning valve, so it's not proportioned correctly. The old power booster. By the way, if you get these stuck, the best thing is to hit it with wire brush all around, spray it with WD-40, and then keep wire brushing it, spraying it with WD-40 while you use the let me show you these type of wrenches. You use these kind of wrenches that go around 3 ways, okay, or 3/4 of the way around, because you can get it on there and it fits snug. So I buy a whole set of these because you never know when you need. I don't know if that one actually fits on there, but yeah, this is a different size. So you get a whole set of these, and that keeps it from stripping, mostly keeps it from stripping. So you spray it with WD-40 in here and out here, hit it with the wire brush, spray with, work it back and forth, okay, and then yeah, that actually is the right side. So see, you get more strength on the turn. Am I showing you the, okay, so you get more strength without it stripping. It's still fitted around this pipe, brake line, but this is a different size, so you need a whole set of them, and then you could eventually work that out. Sometimes they're just so frozen you get distressed, but if you just keep doing it, just don't try to pull too hard, just back and forth, WD-40 down in there on the spring, just keep doing it back and forth. Eventually it'll break free. So now I'm going to show you the next tip, which involves this, okay, which is the old hook up to your brake pedal. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to go back here to my Z28, old, needs to be refurbished, needs a paint job. Now when we see the original brake maybe from the other side would be better. When we see the brake fluid container, it's at an angle. The master cylinder is tilted up. Alright. So now, I mean, I didn't do a lot of searching online for original parts, but you go to Auto Parts and they give you a master cylinder that supposedly fits your car, but then you find out that it's not tilted. And so basically this was in my car, like if you're square with the engine, it was in my car like this, which you know is not right because the fluid isn't level. Okay, but it was already the way it was and it worked, so I didn't mess with it. Now again, from the company, which was specifically ordered for my car, they gave me a similar flat arrangement. And additionally, this underneath the brake pedal was too low. The hole for the brake pedal, or the pin for the brake pedal, is up here. Okay, it's up here. So this was too low, and you can't just pull it up because now you're putting tension on something that not supposed to be right in the middle. So my solution was to put these washers on the top 2 bolts and none on the bottom, which brought this, it was sitting like this, brought it almost level, not completely level, but level enough for me. Okay, so I got about 8 washers in there. I had to take this and put it back apart about 10 times to get the level right. So if you count, there's like 8 washers in there. If you go a little more, it doesn't work right, and if you go less, it doesn't work right. So anyway, that's how they made the Camaros back then. So then by doing that, also raise this up, see, to the right spot. And so basically I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Now if this was like a professional shop, I would build triangular shaped pieces of metal that would fit down in there, but I mean, it's... Oh, one more thing, I went ahead and removed the windshield washer motor to get to these bolts, these 2 bolts, because the wrench just keeps hitting it. So there's 3 1, 2, 3 bolts holding it in, 1 bolt holding it right in there, 2 wires, pop them off, and it was actually a new windshield washer motor, and there it is. Got your 3 bolts, and that'll give you the room to reach that wrench in there. So in my opinion, it's sturdy enough that it's not going to affect the brakes to have that. And so basically I'm hoping that that saves you a lot of time and trouble on your drum to disc conversion. See if there's anything else I can think of as a shortcut. No, that's it. Okay, thanks for joining me in my shop.